3 ganks. You also have options, of course, to go towards top side or mid lane. That can be really, really, really powerful. I mean, we've even seen multiple times today, you know, level 2, level 3 ganks towards bot. People are just so highly prioritizing getting their AD ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we even saw last game in that Evil Geniuses against Cloud9, Inspired gank level 2, which something, as a jungler, I'm always excited about. You know, as long as I feel like, hey, my resources, my time is being well spent, I will happily blow flash for flash and make sure that your lane is the one that is staying ahead on track. Speaking of Maokai, Team Liquid just going for that little bit of standard right now.
Yep. Plus, if you level 2 gank and then you lose, you can just flame your teammates because it's not your fault. You gave up your camps. You know, they were supposed to carry.
That's a fair compromise. I'm down with that.
Absolve yourself of any responsibility in one simple trick. Scientists hate him. Never take responsibility for a loss in solo queue again.
I ganked your lane, I burned flash, you still lost. That's not my problem, bro.
Exactly.
It's out of my hands. Hey guys, the other jungler's now up 3, 4, 5 camps on me. I hope you're carrying this one because it's definitely not going to be me.
All right.
Dignitas just cleaning out the last bit of their first round phase. I mean, ooh. Now, we have been seeing some Ezreal pop up a little bit more outside of the normal AD carry pool.
Yeah, Ezreal, you know, once some of the kind of big dogs are all banned out, you know, we get a tremendous amount of Varus either picked or banned, you know, Lucian, Zeri, Kate. But once you're getting past those big ones, we have things like Sivir, like Xayah, like Jhin, like the Ezreal that can come in. And Ezreal, people always kind of look at, you know, in the past, I think much more as the, okay, this means you're going to roam. But when you play Ezreal paired with a Karma, you can go Comet Karma, and you can play very heavily for that 2v2.
Yeah.
It is obviously really, really heavily reliant on landing those skill shots. Ezreal Karma, if you're hitting your Qs, they're getting crushed. If you're missing your Qs, you're useless. So it's going to be really reliant on that because they're going up against Caitlyn Lux, and this is a lane that you don't want to give up the push to. If you just fully seed the push against this, traps are getting placed down at your tower. It is so incredibly difficult to avoid that poke while still maintaining perfect farm.
Yeah.
Because you can just drop the Lucian Singularity on one side of the turret and then drop traps on the other side of the turret, and there's not really anywhere to go without taking some sort of poke damage.
Damn oppressive in that state. But with Ezreal, always a little bit more flexibility. And it's a far different look for Team Liquid versus what we saw in the first 2 weeks, where it almost seemed like Lucian perfect every single time. Oh my goodness, that is
Big
awesome.
Benson, that's the
Big
throwback.
Benson. Hang on. Can I get a copy of that fan sign after? Like, can I take it to the copier backstage and just...
Okay.
I need that one as well.
There you go.
Wait,
this
hang on.
sign has verified that you can have the other sign.
You know what? Something that we should do is like get a fan sign Hall of Fame. You know, just take pictures of those and put it somewhere in the LCS.
True.
Very much enjoy that.
We'll get on it. We'll get our finest people on it.
Hell yeah. What? I heard something. I just wanted to make sure that I could hear what the fans or the crowd was saying. I don't know. Anyway, Team Liquid, what do we wrap up here? It's all about solo lanes at this point, trying to finalize the last bits of this composition.
That was a good sign as well.
There's so
I like
many
that.
good
It's
fan
meta.
signs
It's a
today.
little bit meta.
Hell yeah.
That's how you pander to the social media people. That's how you get your sign on social media. That's smart.
Yeah, he's on it right now, back in the office, like,
It's like, that's a great sign. Let's get this. Let's tweet this out there. I like that.
very much so.
All right, we got the Viktor coming through here for Haeri, so more scaling for him. He has been going largely towards these scaling picks for the most part. You know, he has been mixing things in, but of course he did play the Azir yesterday. You know, has played some Ryze, has played some Sylas, so he has been kind of just working through. It's actually going to be his 6th unique pick in 6 games, so not doubling up on anything just yet. We're going to see Jensen answering with the Sylas, something that he's quite comfortable on himself. I do think Jensen has kind of been the standout player for Dignitas thus far, but it has been tough for him to really kind of slam home any sort of advantages. Is that just like a surprised face, or is that
The Pikachu what face? Like, Dignitas. All right, blind picks Jax for Armut in the top lane. Now, for Team Liquid, it might not be a surprise that they have saved counterpick for Summit, considering that he really wants to just take leads and push them as far as he can.
Is it just gonna be Renekton though?
Please say no.
I think it's just gonna be Renekton.
Please say psych. Say psych right now, dog.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Okay, I was wrong. It's not gonna be Renekton. It's gonna be Ksante. It's another one of these matchups that is kind of a skill-based matchup.
Yeah.
We did just see him play In this matchup yesterday, he played the Renekton, I do believe, and I was thinking he was going to go back to it. It's definitely one of his favorites. Hasn't played Ksante yet this split, so it is a new pick for Summit, bringing something a little bit different out here. But I do think this is a pretty heavily skill-based matchup. You know, our multi teams kind of go for that style, and it didn't really work out for them. And TL, you know, did have this star-studded roster last split that didn't really work out for them. So they're trying to take a different approach. You know, they're trying to, you know, find that talent that they have already been raising up through academy and through amateur to kind of bring that in and put faith in this next generation of players.
That's right.
So we want to see that succeed.
Yeah, and on the flip side here for Dignitas, you know, the approach, don't want to say it's kind of the old way of thinking, but it is something similar to what we've seen, where you take reliable players that have had great success both domestically and somewhat internationally. Santorin and Jensen, obviously, especially during their time on Team Liquid together in the past. You look at Armut, who also top laner from LEC that they have high hopes for. Obviously, they want Ignar in for support, but, you know, Biofrost is not a bad person to have either while you're waiting on your starter.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think that Biofrost can play this kind of ranged support meta quite well. So I do think it's actually a pretty good meta for him. And, you know, you talked about, of course, Santorin and Jensen playing together, but also Santorin played with Ignar as well on FlyQuest when they had made finals. So there are some of those inbuilt synergies that
First time in that history the org ever made a finals.
Exactly. Too. So I think that's some of the inbuilt synergies that Dignitas were kind of counting on, unfortunately for them. And unfortunately for FlyQuest, you know, they don't have their intended starting supports just yet, but they are on very opposite ends of the table with how those results have been going. And Dignitas needs to start getting some momentum, I think, because they need to just, even just for confidence, it can be very, very difficult as a pro player when you're just losing every game week in, week out, to really have faith in the plans and the practice that you're going for.
And something I talked about with Kobe yesterday during that Dignitas game against Immortals, things over at the Dig camp are still in good spirits. Like, even with a start of 0-4 and now 0-5, you know, one might think like, okay, when do you start hitting the panic button? But, you know, credit to Santorin, who is, you know, reportedly always super happy, in a very good mood with the team, and just saying, you know what, like, things are not, the results are not showing what we have in mind, but obviously, like, they believe that things are going to get better. And if you look at what Dignitas did right yesterday in some of the games that they had early game leads, it's always been through Santorin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Santorin has been known throughout his entire LCS career as this guy who can do these really creative early ganks. I mean, even on champions that are traditionally not early game beasts, like the Trundle, like the Sejuani, who would find these creative paths and these unexpected angles that could really punish people. And we can see, you know, up in the top lane, Armut has the push down here in bot. CoreJJ has been on point with these Qs. Spawn has already worked through all 3 of his health potions. You can see on the other side, they haven't forced Yeon or Core to use a single one, and Bio and Spawn are completely out of those potions. So if much more poke hits Spawn, he's gonna have to go back to base and have a terrible buy.
Yeah, and I imagine that prioritizing that Caitlyn Lux bot lane for yourself against something like Ezreal and Karma, you would hope that you should have the push advantage. So much credit to Core, who has really just doing the damnedest to making sure that they are the ones that went out on the priority push war here on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, and I mean, at the very least, you know, even if you are going to be getting pushed in, you need to be trying to dodge these skill shots as much as possible. Core's done a really good job of any time that Spawn steps too close to range minions, he actually just cues the range minions to splash off those onto him. So you have to be really, really careful about your positioning, because in these poke versus poke matchups, whoever has push has such an advantage. It's very, very difficult to farm safely without actually getting poked, because people know when you're about to step up to try to last up this minion, and they can easily pre-fire at you. Haeri gonna have to flash out, but now they're both committing.
The flash afterwards, it still connects from Jensen. Like we said before, Azael, you can always count on Santorin to be there for the early games.
Yeah, Haeri flashed out there pretty early, but they have the flash follow from Santorin, and Jensen's able to connect with the chains. Are they going to look for a dive here, though? Pyosik down towards that bottom side. They want to punish. The heal's already forced.
They've done this before with Yeon and Core. Now, this time, if Pyosik is there, you can always go for the easy dive and cleanup. Yeon is taking up 1 turret shot. Just perfect amount for the turret aggro to be juggled beautifully by Team Liquid.
Yeah, that was actually really nicely done by Yeon. Just picks it up for Pyosik, holds that aggro, because when you can stand on the absolute outside range of that turret, then you just take 1 step back and you drop the turret aggro. It makes it very, very easy. Had already landed a lot of poke on a Spawn, and this is kind of disaster already for Dignitas in their bot lane. You can see the buys are going to be very, very different here. Spawn is way down in farm. We can watch this one more time as, you know, Jensen able to kind of find this setup. Santorin's coming in from the side. Haeri flashes early, but the problem is he flashed before the E2 was actually used. You've got to try to hit that with the reactive flash. Wasn't able to do so, and when he gets stunned up off after that, it gives Jensen that gap closer. It allows Santorin to come in with Q flash of his own. And then this, again, just really nicely done. Lots of poke landed here onto spawn. And then in goes Yeon, has the W already on him, shifts in, procs that, stays on the outside of that turret aggro, and then just steps right back out after they get the kill.
So now we have 2 pivot points for both of these teams. Team Liquid already firing first on the bottom side of the map, whereas Dignitas striking in the mid lane. Makes sense on where both of these early games for these 2 teams so far in the spring split have worked out, but now the question is, what do either teams do about trying to combat the advantage that both teams have built up?
Yeah, I mean, I think for TL, it's a little bit easier because, well, I guess for both, you know, the kills did go to the junglers, but the problem is Spawn just got put so far behind, right? Haeri is actually playing TP, so he can just TP right back. He actually caught the wave, and now they're going to find Jensen here potentially.
Now that's one way. I mean, Jensen. Oh. All right, we need a redo on that one. The scrim's over, guys. You know, let's remake the game.
Anyone else feel that lag?
That's crazy.
Right outside, just me, the sunrise. What's going on? All right, well, it's a trade of flashes. Honestly, it's fine. It looked funny, but really, at the end of the day, it's Pyosik just flashing. Jensen always there with the reaction time. He is so quick.
Yeah.
On those responses. He's really, really good at actually dodging ganks. It's something that has been one of his calling cards, I think, throughout his entire time in the LCS. Very good at sidestepping skill shots. Very good at actually reacting to these pressure plays. But as I was touching on earlier, yes, they did kill off Haeri, but Jensen didn't get the kill.
Yep.
And yes, Pyosik got the kill on the other side on Spawn, but the problem was Spawn was missing so much farm on that, and he doesn't play TP, right? So he missed those crashing waves. It's plates that are already going down. 2 plates have already gone the way of TL. So when you're actually comparing the gold, in mid lane, it's like 150 gold lead for Jensen, but in bot lane, it's about 700 gold for Yeon.
Yeah.
That is massive already.
The stark contrast and difference already sets up Team Liquid with clear win cons, setting up for that mid game that we were talking about. Especially that is when this Ezreal is really going to start coming online. Whereas when we think about how a Caitlyn left lane is supposed to kind of traditionally work, or what you would hope for, is you get that early push. You're operating on it, just giving you priority to be able to move in and start just chipping slowly away at Team Liquid's side of the map. Without that pressure point, you have to now rely solely on the top side of the map.
Yeah, absolutely. It becomes very, very difficult, right? If you're kind of locked under that tower, you know, in any of these matchups, you know, where it is poke-heavy matchups, whoever has the push just has such a big advantage. It's so easy as that pushing lane to stand behind your own minions. They can't really poke back nearly as easily. That's going to become, you know, very, very difficult to deal with. And as you say, you know, in the ideal game, Caitlyn has that push, is chipping away at turret plates, is constantly, you know, moving around the map to actually, you know, potentially take down a Herald, take down another tower, and just kind of continue snowballing that gold. But TL, I think, really going to be happy about their position so far in this one. If they can keep this game nice and stable and just start showing up for 5v5s, then that's kind of what their comp is built to do.
Right now, Team Liquid and Dignitas might be fussing over this Rift Herald. Santorin is the only one that seems really committed to it, but Pyosik has the pinch. Summit was in position to move on it as well, but Armut now collapsing as well. Jensen might move first, but remember, there's no flash on him, but he takes the ultimate from Pyosik, is going to fire Nature's Wrath right on back. Biofrost is also the first support to roam and collapse, and that gives Dignitas an advantage right now. Summit and Haeri blow up Santorin and Jensen, and Armut is now getting taken all out for an all-out excursion. Summit wins! Beautiful shield from CoreJJ. Team Liquid are gonna clean this one up on Dignitas on left. Oh, bomb stick from Armut. Finds one on CoreJJ, but Haeri's got the last laser.
And no shot, TL wins that anyway. They get the kill on Pyosik right off the bat, but the AoE coming through from the side of TL, Haeri was just roasting him there. And now 3 quick kills for Haeri on this Viktor is gonna slingshot him ahead of Jensen. You can see him at the top of the gold tables now. Haeri, Yeon, Summit, the top 3 earners so far this game. Pyosik was in a bit of an awkward position because you could see the first move was actually coming from Dignitas. It's Lux who's actually arriving first. Biofrost gets there. Pyosik goes down pretty quick, but they're spending so much time focusing him that look at the health bars there on Jensen, on Santorin. They get hit by the ulti Q there from CoreJJ. Summit arrives, he claps them both together. They're getting stunned up, they're getting knocked up, and Haeri is just lasering over the top. getting so much damage down. So despite the fact that they had that first kill, so many resources spent on killing off the Maokai, well, Viktor is free firing, and Armut does the best job he can to try to trade one back. But at the end of the day, it's just another kill into Viktor's pockets there. Plus the double buffs is going to have him feeling really, really good.
You know, after all of that fighting, Pyosik, while he goes down, just thinks to himself, all that for a drop of blood. You know? He knew what his job was. If he goes down, ensuring that the rest of the team can make do on that positive upswing. And now with that, the gold lead slightly increased, now 2,000 from the 1,000 we saw in the early game. It's not much, nothing to run away with the game with, but already this is the slow increments that Team Liquid want to be building upon as they scale further and further into the game.
I mean, it's definitely not lights out by any means just yet, but 2.5K as it was, a second ago, it's 2.3 now. 10 minutes in, it's still a really big lead, right?
Yep.
This is very significant. It's going to start showing itself in item completions. We can see that Haeri already has his mythic done, and he's deeping back to mid, and Jensen, you are in trouble.
Flash is burned by Jensen, but right onto the gravity zone from Haeri. He's got a stopwatch. Can he buy some time here? Heals up with the Kingslayer, goes right on back to the flash. Oh, but it's not enough damage. Haeri, he wanted to look for one last laser on the Santorin, just gets the flash out, but damn, Haeri, 4-1-0. Nice way to bounce back after the first game.
Absolutely, getting really aggressive there around mid lane. Pyosik has been pretty relentless, just targeting Jensen here. Comes in, has the flash to spend, gets right in on Jensen. Yes, Jensen has the reactive flash, but once the Maokai W is in transit, it's coming with you, right? You are gonna get trapped up, whether you're going back to the base or whether you're just going a little bit away. So they lock him up. They're able to burst him down. And Santorin was in position to try to turn it around, but when you show up that late, Jensen is just so far down on health. The fact that he had the stopwatch was really the only reason it started to look close, but even then, he comes out of the stopwatch at such low health, and you can see he just doesn't have much going for him as far as damage, right? He's got a broken stopwatch, he's got Merc Treads, he's got a Catalyst, he's got 0 stacks on a Dark Seal. There's not a lot of oomph behind his spells.
That's right. Just trying to get to that Rod of Ages spike. I hear in the Twitter sphere people calling it the vegan build or something along those lines. Where
are you talking about where they go Roa, Banshees, Mercs, and all the super defensive stuff straight into Zonias?
All right. Summon should be just fine. He's not overextended. It's okay, guys. The Rift Herald will be dropping, though, giving some plate gold over to Armut. Santorin, while he is visibly on this top side of the map, that gives Pyosik a window to start up that second dragon, which gives them further points towards the dragon stacking to the soul. Unless they actually want to dive this on the top side, Summon, is he in trouble? All out, distancing Santorin away from Armut, and now both of them are taking the turn aggro. Oh no! It's disaster for Dignitas! Team Liquid keep running away with it thanks to Summon in the 1v2.
Not like this, dude. They had to do it to him, and Armut takes a tower shot. He's just
Counter-Strike? Bomb stick? Okay, well, you know what? Armut gets revenge for his fallen brother.
That is Summit as a player, though. That is just Summit completely encapsulated in one play. The sick outplay, and then he's at 10% HP. He's like, you know what? I think I could take him.
I got this.
I like my odds.
He probably in comments like, hey, Pyosik, yeah, watch top right now. Oh, never mind, my bad, bro.
I was like, when he was on C9, there was this play that just lives rent-free in my head. I remember he had this sick dodge on a Lee Sin gank. He gets away, he's at 10% HP, starts recalling, he just cancels the recall, walks up to the lead, just gets queued immediately.
Oh no.
And it's just like, that has been Summit, right? He pulls off some of the absolute best plays you'll ever see in the LCS. But he plays with very little respect to the opposing players. He just is so confident in his own play.
Yep.
He's like, I don't care if the jungler's here. I don't care if you got more HP than me. I'm going to win anyway.
You know what? You live by Summit, you die by Summit as well. There's no in between. We got a fight over in the top side jungle here. Looks like Biofrost is not long for this one. Pyosik had him wrapped up in that entire forest stranglehold. And the rest of Team Liquid just continuing this grasp on the game further and further into Dignitas' side of the map.
And I just love, they invade into the jungle here. You can see that topside jungle. All of the wards are just all on the TL side, right? There's not a single ward from Dignitas on that side of the map. So they push up there at the same time. Yeon is actually sieging that top turret, being able to actually take that one down. Now Summit TPing up the top here. They want to try to look for a play on Armut.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Armut is fine. Just leap strikes back to safety. Has spawned a Santorin in the wings. Biofrost is also making his way up, but unfortunately they cannot save that tower. Team Liquid just continuing this gold lead. 4 minutes ago, it was 2.3 thousand. Now it is almost 6.
Yeah, you were saying it's not all doom and gloom then. Now the sky is falling. Now it is doom and gloom.
The walls are closing in.
Yeah, this is looking rough. 14.5 minutes in, 6K in the favor of TL. Plus they have both the dragons. Plus they have better team fighting. They have really good scaling. It's very, very difficult to kind of dig your way out of this one. And Caitlyn is on a massive power trough. You know, Caitlyn wants to get towards that second item really before she starts to get online and work towards that IE. But we can see Yeon is going to have his second item maybe around the same time as Spawn has his first, or maybe even potentially before. So this Ezreal is going to be very, very difficult to deal with. Haeri has gotten a massive amount of gold. You know, mythics across the board have come through really for TL, and you look at the other side, and it's a lot of pieces.
And it all comes from Pyosik, right? Pyosik was the one that made the first move on the bottom side of the map, helping and coordinating with CoreJJ to make that dive possible, which already was a lane that should have been in Spawn in Biofrost's favor, swing heavily towards Yeon so that he could safely get to this mid-game spike. And Pyosik has been covering Haeri in the mid lane after Santorin influenced a little bit. So the fact that they've been able to reverse the damage in the mid lane and then just set them up for success. Now Team Liquid, it just seems like at this point, it should be smooth sailing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's the question is can they actually close this game out cleanly? Yeon just kind of poking away, almost has that turret down. That's the last tier 1 remaining here. Looking to just stop the base, not quite going to actually find Spawn. So I assume Spawn does have his mythic now, which will be something going for him. Haeri should just be able to back this one up. Not really in much danger, but Armut maybe.
Oh God. Haeri! Oh my goodness, that was a lot of damage, and I think Armut was not expecting it either. Forced a flash leap strike to his compadre, just making sure that he got out alive. This is...
Yeah, that's where you hit tab and you ping the bounty. Who fed Viktor? Who fed this guy? What happened?
He checks the items like, oh, he has Leandries and a large rod already.
I mean, that's scary, man. When Viktor hits late game at 16 minutes, you're like, oh, we're scaling. We have late.
It always kind of, what's the word? Gives you whiplash when Viktor just one-shots you later on in the game when he just hits you with Q auto into laser. It's like, wait a minute. I thought you were a control mage. You're supposed to like do damage over the time. Where's the burst?
Hey, he controls whether you're living or dying.
Ah, true.
Yeah.
Very true. Well, third dragon is coming up in the next 45 seconds here, Isaac. And Team Liquid, they have pretty much full guarantee into the mid lane and into the bottom side jungle. So I just don't know how Dignitas can force their way in.
Yeah, I don't think Dignitas should try. Honestly, when you're looking at the itemization, I don't think they have any business really going for this. Maybe you look for some sort of a steal. You could be willing to give up Santorin's life to try to get some sort of a flip if you can maintain vision. And that's why they're trying to have at least this kind of defensive vision here on that bot side. You know, they have this one ward, but they've got really nothing forward into the river whatsoever. It's all TL. TL's dropping Shelly here in mid lane as well. They're going to push up through mid. Pyosik is threatening down on the side while Haeri is pushing up top, and he is TP. So their setup, I think, is really, really good. No one is actually answering Armut, but they can just charge forward, take the tier 2. And if there's not going to be more of a response from Dig, they're just going to keep pushing this in. There's no reason not to.
Yep. Already damage down onto the inhibitor tower.
Whoa,
so they don't take it quite yet. Where's this TP going?
Stop.
Is this a flank? Okay, well, Haeri might die for this one. Team Liquid will just have to book it over to the dragon on the bottom side of the map. That's a huge shutdown that goes over to Armut's pocket.
Yeah, all 5 actually got invested there in that. You can see the ultimate came through from Biofrost and Spawn from downtown. There was the TP from Armut. There's the ult from him, the ult from Jensen, the ult from Santorin. So there's like, yeah, you're not getting away this time. So they do at least get the bounty. That is a second item now finished up for Armut. So potential small kind of glimmer of hope there is that Armut is actually quite rich now. He does have 2 items. He has 4 kills on this Jax. So maybe if he can make something happen, it can buy time for the rest of your team to try to scrape their way back into this game. But TL, they just need to keep rolling because really their win condition is Soul. They're already very far ahead. And they just need to show up for Dragon, make sure they have a good setup in 4.5, and see if Dig's ready to fight.
I mean, if you're able to get Mountain Soul before Caitlyn even finishes her second item,
yeah.
Who is taking down the front line? Who's going to be fighting Summit? Who's going to be fighting Pyosik? If you're not finding flanks on a Haeri and Yeon, it's already difficult to try and isolate at least an Ezreal. This is dire straits for Dignitas.
Yeah, it's really, really tough. I mean, they're going to have to. Anytime you are playing these multiple melee solo lane type comps, you have to come from really creative angles. But it's so difficult when you're put behind, right? Because, you know, when you're looking at the map, it's like, what's the furthest forward wards they have, right? They got a couple here, but you're not really going to be able to establish much vision in this river area that you really need. You need to be able to get wards back behind where the dragon is going to be to try to set something up. They are onto Summit here. We'll see if he can just walk out. He is in basically a 1v5.
I mean, he's too tanky, guys. So, like, what are you going to do? It goes out, and he's walking out fine. I thought Summit was ready to just all out someone and isolate them. And
He just turns around.
That would have been even worse. Like, oh, you think I'm locked in here with you? You're locked in here with me kind of deal. And Team Liquid just take advantage of the fact that everyone was trying to pick off Summit in the bot jungle. No one was protecting the mid wave. So they get a free access pass to the inhibitor. Armut is still splitting on the bottom side of the map. But that's only the tier 1 turret for an inhibitor.
Stop. They're getting clapped. It's looking rough for Dig here. Going up here against TL, you know, trying to find their first win of the season still, but this one is very, very quickly slipping away from them. At least, you know, they do get the tier 1. It is a turret bounty, so it's a lot more gold going the way of Armut. We'll see what he wants to work towards. With the BF picked up, I think he's just going to go third item GA and then just pray, hey, maybe I can buy a stopwatch before the dragon.
That's all he can do, right?
And maybe I can make something happen. I mean, you know they have to have a miracle engage to make it happen, right? Yeon is playing Cleanse. He's way ahead. He has a Karma in his back pocket, and they have a really strong front line. So it's going to have to be multiple members getting in on top to really make anything happen. They are looking for a pick on Pyosik, but
all right, but Pyosik is going to bait everyone else in. Final Spark does nothing. A look at the flank from Summit. He's making his approach. He's towering over them menacingly, and he finds Spawn. He goes all out. Yeon wants a piece of the action here, but Summit says, this one is all mine, baby. And if there's no ADC, there's no way that the rest of your team is cleaning up that one. Yeon gets the pick off. Free pickings here on the other side of the map. Armut goes back in for a counter-strike, but the bonk stick ain't bonking today. It is Team Liquid that comes out on top.
Summit goes all out, and Dignitas go all the way home, man. Everyone's back to the spawn platform there. It is an ace for 1 for TL here, 20 minutes into the game. Baron on top, why not? They're gonna grab it. Even gonna TP Haeri back in here just to secure it. Make sure they can actually burst this down before there's any concerns whatsoever. But there's no way that Dignitas can really get here to do anything about it whatsoever. So TL looking incredible in this one. A very, very dominant performance that they're putting in. They're gonna have third item here on Yeon, and it's gonna be 1 item and a pickaxe per spawn.
And take a look at that replay once again. It is Pyosik sniffing around, but you know what? He's Maokai. He's tanky. He can handle this. And then the rest of the reinforcements come in from the side.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see on the map, there's the TP from Summit. He's just coming up behind. Yeon is free firing again. You're putting all this effort into Pyosik, and you can't really blame Dignitas because really all they can do at this point is look for odd number plays. They've got to group up. They got to hope they find one person in a 3v1, in a 4v1, kill that person off, try to scrape your way back in. But when TL is there and TL is ready with that response, sure, you knock down Pyosik, sure, you get that 1 kill, but Yeon is free firing, he's monstrously fed. Somebody's on that TP flank, he's pressuring your AD out of the fight, so there's not going to be that follow-up to really ever get anything more. And you can see the frustration there on Armut's face. You know, he knows the way this game is heading, and it's heading that way very, very quickly.
And for Team Liquid, this is a team that, not having necessarily the record of the split that they would have hoped for, they've definitely dropped some games where they felt like they were in position to take home, but this is one that they can definitely be happy about.
One more try.
All right, last opportunity from Dignitas. Go all the way, go big or go home. Armut on the flank, but Pyosik is marking him and not giving him any access to his backline.
Yeah, that's rough. Because you look at the minimap, right? Super's on the base right here. That Nexus turret is going to be going down soon. Someone can just walk it in, and at the same time, that Soul Dragon is about to spawn, so they can continue pushing through mid, continue pushing through bot. We can see on the map, though, Armut is still in that kind of flanking position, but he's behind the tank. He's not behind the carry, so they can look for Summit, but I don't know if they have anything to take him down.
I mean, Team Liquid, if they wanted, they could just focus on the bottom side minion wave and just push it on in, but they want kills, Isaac. They are bloodthirsty. They want to pad the KDAs. They want everything from Dignitas. They are leaving no prisoners behind. As Team Liquid continue to push in this last minion wave, it's Spawn and Biofrost, last defenders on the footsteps of their base, but they can't do a damn thing. There's no way they can save this game. This is Team Liquid to take home and end possibly on week 3.
24 minutes in, the Nexus falls. The TL crushed Dignitas here today. This one was not close whatsoever. Really dominant early stages of the game here from TL, and they were able to snowball it very, very effectively, continue taking those dragons, continued, invading, taking away vision, just kind of cutting off any sort of windows of opportunity that Dignitas might have to come back in. I mean, Yeon was pretty much untouched, it felt like, this entire game, and he was monster fed, and it's like, even if you get a kill or two in a fight, if you can't get to Haeri, if you can't get to Yeon, or these massive, massive threats, you just had no chance of actually winning the team fight.
Yeah. Fun fact, Azael, that was the fastest game ever for the spring split.
Wow.
And that comes from Team
For
Liquid.
this spring split or any spring split?
No, so I want to double check production. I believe it's for just this spring split.
Okay. I was like, wow.
I was gonna say, it's like, because I think there's like some 19-minute games in the past before.
Yeah, we've had some crazy games.
Yeah. But this is the